Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nur Shakila. I will present my final exam project of Translation 2. The title is Translation Theories, a Historical Perspective. Translation theory has been only cared about extraordinary works of art for nearly 2000 years ago. The science of translation or translatology has not yet appeared 1940 in an effort to establish itself as a new discipline involves radical change in approach and classification. The story of translation theory deals with the following types of question explicitly by Becker. Becker say, first, what translator have had to say about their art or craft or science. Second, how translation have been evaluated at different periods. Third, what kind of recommendation translate have made, or how translation has been told in this discourse is related to other discourse of the same period. Jadi selama 2000 tahun lalu, teori terjemahan hanya berfokus pada karya seni. Ilmu terjemahan ini belum muncul sampai tahun 1940-an dalam upaya untuk membangun dirinya sebagai sebuah disiplin baru yang melibatkan perubahan radikal dalam pendekatan dan klarifikasi. Adapun inti dari pertanyaan-pertanyaan Becker tadi, yang pertama itu apa yang penerjemah telah katakan tentang seni, kerajinan, dan ilmu pengetahuan. Yang kedua, bagaimana terjemahan yang dievaluasi pada periode yang berbeda. Kemudian, apa jenis rekomendasi penerjemah yang telah dibuat atau bagaimana terjemahan yang telah diajarkan. Then, George Steiner in After Babel classifying literature based on theory, practice, and history translation into 4 periods from Cicero until now, through overlapping and loose chronological structure. Jadi, kemudian George Steiner mengklarifikasikan literatur berdasarkan teori, praktik, dan terjemahan sejarah menjadi beberapa periode. Adapun periode tersebut yaitu the first period. In this period, a man named Eric Jacobson said that translation is a Roman intervention through and translation is as old as language itself. This period starts with the Roman. The characteristic of this period is that of immediate empirical focus. Horace and Cicero say on translation that make an important distinction between word-for-word translation and sense-for-sense translation. In this period, Tytler added a definition of translation, in which the merit of original work is so completely transfused into another language as to be as distinctly apprehended and so strongly left by a native of the country to which that language belongs, as it is by those who speak the language of the original work. Seorang pria bernama Eric Jacobson pada periode ini mengatakan bahwa penerjemahan adalah intervensi Romawi dan terjemahan sama tuanya dengan bahasa itu sendiri. Periode ini dimulai dengan bangsa Romawi. Adapun definisi terjemahan ditambahkan oleh Tytler yang mengatakan yang dimana kelebihan dari karya asli yang ditransposisikan ke dalam bahasa lain dapat dipahami dengan jelas dan sangat dirasakan oleh penduduk asli dari negara mana mereka bahasa itu berasal. The second period. This period is characterized as a theoretical period and hermeneutic inquiry with vocabulary development and approaching translation methodologies. This period, there were up to 40s of the 20th century according Steiner. One of the earliest theories in this period was the French humanist Etienne Dolet, who had put forward 1540 outline of the principle of translation and established 5 principles for translator. Jadi periode ini ditandai sebagai periode teoretis dan penyelidikan hermeneutika dengan pengembangan kosakata dan mendekati metodologi penerjemahan. Dolet telah mengemukakan 1540 garis besar prinsip-prinsip terjemahan dan 5 prinsip untuk penerjemah, yaitu pertama, the translator must fully understand. Second, the translator should have a perfect knowledge. Third, the translator should avoid word-for-word renderings. Fourth, the translator should use form of speech. And the last, the translator should choose and order word appropriately to produce the correct tone. Based on Dolet principle about the importance of understanding text as the main condition, his views were reaffirmed by George Chapman. Chapman asserted that the work of a skillful and worthy translator is to be observe the sentence, figures, and form of speech proposed in his author. Then John Tryon tried to formulate 3 basic types of translation problems. First, metaphrase, second, paraphrase, and the last, imitation. Jadi, Dolet berprinsip bahwa pentingnya memahami teks sebagai syarat utama dalam penerjemahan. Kemudian dilanjutkan oleh Chapman bahwa penerjemah harus mengamati kalimat, angka, dan bentuk pidato. Kemudian John merumus 3 jenis masalah dalam terjemahan. First, metaphrase or turning an author word by word. Second, paraphrase or translation with latitude. And the third, imitation, where the translation can abandon the text of the original as it sees fit. The third period. This period began with the publication of the first paper about machine translation in 1940 and marked by introduction structural and applied linguistic, contrast studies in morphology and syntax, among other, which help translator identify similarity and difference between NL and FL. And communication theory became a study of translation. This period, which is the shortest because it extends to less than 3 decades. Periode ini dimulai dengan publikasi tulisan pertama tentang mesin terjemahan pada tahun 1940-an dan ditandai dengan pengenalan struktural dan linguistik terapan. The fourth period. This period is related to the third period because it has origin in the early 1960s. The characterized by a research to hermeneutic inquiries into translation and interpretation, a revision of translation that set the discipline in a wide frame which include a number of other disciplines. Many new theories in this period, such as first, the polysystem theory, is the theory offer a general model for understanding, analyzing, and describing the function and of evolution of literary system. Its specific application to the study of translate literature. Second, Scoffus theory is another theory which has developed in Germany in the late 1970s. The theory endeavors to meet the growing need in the latter half of the 20th century for the translation of non-literary texts. According to this theory, the contextual factors surrounding the translation should not be ignored. Neither that the comprehension of the intent is a vital requisite of translation. Karakteristik periode ini ditandai dengan pertanyaan hermeneutika ke dalam terjemahan dan interpretasi. Banyak teori dalam periode ini, beberapa diantaranya yaitu polysystem theory, teori yang menawarkan general model untuk memahami fungsi dan lain-lain pada studi literatur yang diterjemahkan. Yang kedua, Scoffus theory. Teori ini dikembangkan di Jerman. Teori ini berusaha untuk menerjemahkan teks-teks non-sastra. Nida juga menambahkan bahwa syarat penerjemahan adalah memahami maksudnya. Translation Computerization Era. The invention of computer was the beginning of being automatic machine translation, where a computer is provide source text to be reproduced automatically. Translation-oriented computers technology in general and machine translation in particular is widely used in a variety of a complex and diverse field where various actors such as translation theorists, linguists, and others. Metode ini ditandai dengan adanya penemuan awal mesin terjemahan otomatis. The fifth period is marked with the third generation as the product of corpus-based approach, which seemed to have gained popularity in the early 1990s. Machine translation is simply a translation performed either purely automatically by a computer or with human assistance, which involves the preparation of the source text. For example, pre-editing and product editing, for example, post-editing. Arab theorization. This activity began during the reign of Umayyad and reached its peak under the Abbasid, especially during the reign of Al-Mun, known as the Golden Era of Translation. The Arab were the one who started the first large-scale translation activity in history according to Becker. This period has two translation methods adopted. The first related to Yohanna ibn al-Batrik and Ibn Naima al-Himsi, namely translating every Greek word with an equivalent Arabic word, but it didn't work, so many of their translation then revised by Hunayn ibn Ishaq with the second method, where he translates the sense to sense so that the next create and translate smoothly deliver the meaning of the original without change target language. A famous writer, Al-Jahiz, said that the translator can never do the original author's translation or express it with fidelity. Menurut Becker, dalam periode ini, orang-orang Arablah yang memulai kegiatan terjemahan dalam sejarah. Contemporary status of translation theory. There seems to be no certainty about the role play theory in the practice of translation. Peter Emery, cite Klein Verley, among others, who argue that the theory does not have place in most university translation programs and go so far to state that it must be thrown out for the sake of something more practical work. But this view then easily denied by general consensus. Dalam periode ini belum ada kepastian tentang teori dalam praktik penerjemahan. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.